Hey, good morning. Do we have everybody?
Morning.
WSU going to be online?
They're
Yeah,
on.
okay. All right, they're on. Very good. All right, good morning, everyone. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. January 14th meeting of the Kansas Board of Regents Governance Committee. As we always do, we'll open up with consideration of the minutes from the previous meeting, which was December 17th. Would entertain any discussion related to the minutes. If not, would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Okay. I have a motion from Regent Johnston, second by Regent Parasker. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, minutes are approved. Item 2, discuss chair, vice chair nomination process. John, did you want to handle that?
I can.
Okay, sure.
After the minutes in your packet on page 3, there's a provision of the board's bylaws. Section 1 says the board shall elect a chair and a vice chair for 1-year terms at the regular May meeting of each calendar year, and then the terms of office shall begin on July 1st. For the last few years, since the spring of 2023, this committee had discussed the process for that nomination and had agreed to, at least in the past couple of years, that any regent that was interested in serving as the chair or the vice chair for the following year, so starting next July 1st, would let the chair know by March 1st. That can change, but this was the process that's been used for a couple of years if they're interested, before going out to other regents and seeking support for those nominations. And then the chair, at a date that the chair determined appropriate, would let all the regents know, here's who's interested. And then that process would start for seeking support.
Mhm.
So you could do that again, or you could do whatever else you would like. It's not a matter of bylaws or policy. It's not written anywhere, but that's just what's been done the last few years.
It seems like last year, then the chair announced at the April meeting who was interested, and we held elections in May, as John mentioned. I think at one point there was a chance that we wouldn't have a February governance meeting, so that's why it's on the agenda for January. So it's a little bit earlier this year than it has been in the past, but certainly no harm in that.
Or I was just mistaken and thought that was, I sometimes I get February and April.
I know at one point
Me too.
we talked about not having a February board meeting.
We had, and
So,
we decided to do
Yeah,
that.
so no, it makes sense. So does process still sound? Yeah, give you plenty of time to think about it. Yeah,
And that's not an action item, that's just
sure.
Control.
Sounds good.
And so we moved over time to do that chair election the last month. But over time, it got to be where planning the retreat, scheduling the time, you almost need the new chair in place earlier, so you have that time
Sure.
Right.
as a team to get everything planned.
Makes sense.
Yes. Anything else related to that?
No.
All right.
I was just
Yes.
thinking, as regents, we have some idea what the role is,
Mhm.
like for being a chair and a vice chair. What are we getting into? How do we know?
Wish I'd known that.
Exactly.
Just one meeting a month, right?
Yeah.
That's what they said
one day a month.
with this.
Well, and I think between now and March 1st, or actually even that between now and April when we would announce it, I think gives us plenty of time for anybody that would be interested to have a conversation with the current chair, vice chair, to get a better idea of what all it entails. I don't know that there's anything written. This is not like a job description per se.
Not that I'm aware.
Sounds good.
All right. Moving on, let's see. So we will receive today a State University campus security and IT report from Wichita State. I believe we have Stacia. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us. I'm actually going to very quick, if you're ready for us.
We are, yes.
Okay. I'm Stacia Bowden, General Counsel for Wichita State University, and I'm going to pretty quickly turn it over to the other two gentlemen who are on our screen here. Captain Hurl, he's Wichita State University police captain. He's going to address some of our efforts with regard to our Clery report, campus health, safety, crime statistics. And then Courtney McHenry, he's our Associate Vice President for our Civil Rights Title IX Coordinator and ADA compliance. And he's also going to speak about some of our Clery compliance, but also our campus safety and security measures as it relates to those areas of law that fall under his office. And of course, I remain here for any questions. So I'll turn it over to Captain Hurl.
Morning, everybody. Thanks for having us here. As Stacia said, I'm Corey Hurl. I'm captain of the police department. Chief is actually celebrating his 67th birthday on a cruise, so he sent me instead. But for those of you not familiar with how what our department looks like, we have the chief, 2 captains, we have 8 sergeants, 2 detectives, and then 21 patrol officers, as well as we still have our own professional staff, which is our dispatch center here on the campus. Our department assists other departments, specifically Dr. McHenry's department, the Office of Civil Rights, Title IX, ADA compliance, like CTAC as they're called. We assist with helping with the Clery report. We help them get stats, locate all the locations, so we're getting everything reported fully and completely as required by federal law. As far as the report, I'm assuming you guys have it there available to you. If not, I'll go over some of the stuff from that. Most of our numbers are really in line with what we've seen historically. We do have a couple of categories of note that we did have that have more reports in. Our sexual assault category, we did have 7 there. Of those, only 3 was reported to the University Police Department. Of those 3, we presented 2 of those cases to the district attorney here in Sedgwick County. They chose not to file on one of the reports based on the information that was in that report. We did file on the other one that is going to court. And one of the 3 that we had was actually reported by a family member, was not reported by the victim. So when we tried to reach out to the victim, they were not interested in completing the process, but it still gets included in our numbers, just like the numbers that came into other entities on campus. The other is our motor vehicle thefts. We had 7 of those as well. Of those, part of that we worked with WPD. There were 4 of those vehicles that were stolen were all Kias. There's a group called the Kia Boys that operate in Sedgwick County as well as all over the United States. Because Kias are very easy to steal. If you have one, I would suggest maybe selling it and finding something else. Because they are very easy to steal. You can go on YouTube and find out how to do it pretty quickly and easily. Every vehicle was recovered in that. A couple of instances, they were just attempts. We were able to stop that before they were even stolen, but all of our vehicles were recovered in those incidents. Some of the things that we're working on as far as our processes, partnerships that we have, one of the things I'm most proud of is our CRAZE training, and that's it's civilian response to active shooter events. That's what CRAZE stands for. We've been doing that for a couple of years now. Roughly, we've had 61 sessions, and that means we've gotten very close to 1,300 people through that training that we've been completing. It's a 3-part training. We do a classroom session. We'll do scenarios if people want to participate in that. And we also have incorporated the Stop the Bleed campaign, which is essentially like trauma first aid at a little bit higher level for people to to learn that. Each portion of those sessions takes about an hour, and we've had a lot of people that have done the whole thing. So devoting 3 hours to something like it's, I feel like that's um, a really good response out of that to have so many people involved in that. Our camera system, we have a group that operates on the university. I'm part of it. Telecom's part of it. IT's part of it. Physical plant has been part of that to not only expand our camera coverage for security cameras, but to help maintain the integrity of that system. That's proven invaluable too. A lot of the stuff that we stop because my dispatchers are available to view camera systems. So they have just a view of just all of our bicycle racks because we tend to have bike thefts. They're easy to roll in, roll out. We, in fact, just 2 days ago, stopped and arrested two guys who were trying to steal bikes. So that's been the security camera system has been very helpful, not only in investigations, but to prevent stuff that's happening in real time. Um, we've been partnering a lot more with Kansas Highway Patrol as far as our special events go, working security with us. We still continue to partner with our other local agencies, WPD. In fact, WPD and WSU Tech, they've assisted us with drones for a lot of our major special events, including we do a lot of the graduations for USD 259 happen at Coke Arena. So we had WSU Tech was there available at each one of those with two drones for us. And KHP was working those events. We had a couple of other events that have come up, some VIP protective details. We've had WPD, they've come out with their drones, they've come out with their canine unit for us. They're available with their canine unit at every one of our men's basketball games, or those VIP events that we have too. It's been really good. That relationship, we've built that over the years. In fact, Chief was from WPD, so he's got a lot of contacts there that help us a lot. Our flock system. I don't know if you all are familiar with the flock system. It's license plate readers. They're all over the US, so that network is huge. We have them on all of our entrances to campus, so we can see who comes on. With that system, we can set alerts as well as search. So let's say we have somebody that has been trespassed from the university and they're not supposed to be out here. If I have their vehicle information, I can put that in the system and it will let me know when they pull on the campus immediately. We've used it actually in the recovery of all of our stolen vehicles. We use that system because we have access to everybody else's views on that. So that data has been really good for us too. One of the biggest things over the last year that I'm very proud of, we were part of a mass casualty exercise. This started like 3 years ago. Just a couple of us at the university, a couple from the county, and a couple from the city, just talking about having a major one that we cross trained on, and it expanded over time. It got so big that actually Sedgwick County's emergency management took it over, and they brought in FEMA to help plan this. It wound up involving, we had representatives from FBI, Department of Homeland Security, ATF, the Red Cross, police and fire and EMS from all the local entities. Local hospitals were involved, and it was initially planned to happen at Coke Arena. It got even bigger than that, so we had it at Century 2 downtown in Wichita. Um, it was it went from start to finish, and what I mean by that, like, we had help from the community as well. They came in and were role players for us. Like a couple of hundred people did that, including people who like do oh for like hair and makeup for acting and they did like trauma on people's limbs and stuff. So people were able to dress those wounds and stuff and treat it as real as possible. All the way down to finishing that and having public information officers from WPD that were there in Sedgwick County. So our strategic communications division here on the campus got to go see that and how they prepared statements and answered questions. So they got to be part of that as well. It's one of the largest exercises like that's been conducted in the state of Kansas, and to be part of that was a real honor. So I think we had 6 officers that went and actually assisted with the training, and there was myself and another sergeant that were there that were helping to host it and operate everything. So really proud of that. We're setting up some tabletops for some university officials as well that we'll be doing in the coming months. It's the best way to train is just running through that and prep your people. And tabletop sessions they're simple, easy, and quick, and we're looking forward to getting those done. As far as getting information and things to our community, Innovation Campus, we work with them partners quite a bit, especially like NetApp, ATF. We just had Hammer was I had a grand opening for that, and even the week before we were talking to all of our partners on the campus, letting them know, hey, this is how busy this is going to be. If you're seeing stuff out of the ordinary, let us know. If there's something we can do for you that day. It went very, very smooth, and all that again is built on relationships that we already preset. Try to get all the good information out to students with all of our orientation sessions. We got some more coming up here in another week or two, a couple of sessions. I'm sorry. That's been something that I've been doing for years. Chief's been doing for years, and we're moving that down to some of our sergeants as well, so we can maintain that culture of getting that information out to people. Trying to think if there's anything else that we've got on the works. I get contacted quite often by some of our like the downtown campus. They know us really well, even though we're not there regularly. But we're getting ready to do a refuse to be a victim training for them. They've already gone through our craze training. So even our places that aren't directly on the main campus, we're in contact with on the regular. We've got good partnerships here, good partnerships with our local agencies, the KHP, and our other KBOR law enforcement agencies. So I've been here since '03, and that stuff's been cultivated over that time, and I'm proud of that fact. I think it's benefited us immensely. Don't know that there's much else that I have. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to address any of those before I turn over to Dr. McHenry here.
No, we appreciate that, Captain Hurl, and thank you for the information. The mass casualty exercise, did you say who coordinated that?
So it was hosted by Sedgwick County Emergency Management, but they brought in FEMA from DHS to actually run the operation itself.
Very good. Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, any questions for Captain Earl?
After the exercise, did we learn what we could do better, or is it?
Yeah, we did debriefs after that as well. And the number one thing that's always on there is communication. But we learned several different things. I got to see how EMS was doing their quick assessments on who goes where. So we learned that was a major thing, as far as like they actually brought out different colored tape and tagged people that way. So even I could easily recognize that this person's a red, they need to go. They're a priority 1, priority 2, priority 3 for that. So it was not even so much of what we could do better. I had a lot of my people got a better understanding of what processes are already in place that work and how we can help them do that, even beyond just, your regular communication. The communication is the issue because everybody's trying to get information out there on one radio network, and you've kind of got to do that as well because people need to know what's going on, but you're fighting to get on that radio too. So that's always one of the first things, and generally always listed no matter what. But we did it was, and I really liked the fact that strategic communications got to come out and see that, and they were really excited about being part of that and developing strategies now, for how we would respond or how they would respond in that instance. So it was good for them too.
Thank you.
Good question. Well, thank you again, Captain Hurl.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right, so can I start now, Regents?
Absolutely. Please do.
All right, thank you so much. And thank you for actually having us here, and happy 2026 so far, right? So my name is actually Courtney McHenry. I happen to serve as the Title IX coordinator. I'm the associate vice president, and I'm also in the Office of Civil Rights Title IX and ADA Compliance, also known as CTAC. We have 9 staff members, so we have 7 full-time staff, and we have 2 part-time staff, which are actually the 2 part-time students here too. Okay, so I like to say that this year marks my 10th year working in Title IX, civil rights, and all that kind of stuff. So as you can imagine, I've seen quite a bit over the last now 4 administrations. Okay, and so I will actually talk about some of that as we go on here. So first of all, I want to talk about how do we do the work that we do here in CTAC. I think it's pretty simple in that we want to make sure that everyone knows who we are, what we do, how to get in touch with us. So what we've done this past year is we created a quick reference guide for Title IX and for the GN Clery Act. So basically we have this guide that's probably maybe a 5x7. And so on one side, it talks about Title IX and it tells you all the different things there. And it talks about scope. And then on the other side of that, it talks about all the different crimes, right, that can actually happen on campus, which is taken care of through our Clery Act there. Now, Regis, I want to say that I just turned 40, and what I'm now realizing more than ever is that I don't really know as much as I thought I did in terms of what these students are doing with social media and things of that nature. So I am learning more and more and more. One of the things are something called QR codes. I thought I knew how to actually use those, and found out that I was taking pictures of the code and not really loading it to the point where I can actually go where I need to go. So I am having my student staff help me with those things. Everything is actually changing, right? So I have to make sure that I know how to do this stuff too. And so what we've done with the quick reference guides is we wanted to make sure that our students, faculty, and staff have access to all these things. So we have those codes there for them to actually scan, and then they can actually get to it right then, right then and there. Also for Title IX, for that quick reference guide, we have something called basically 9 steps for mandatory reports. Okay, we want to make sure that they know how to talk to students who may be dealing with something, but not to the point where they are asking questions that they probably shouldn't be asking, but they can get them to the right place. Okay. Something that we've also done recently is we added a training part to our CTAC website, to whereas faculty, students, or staff, they can go on there and they can make a training request for what they need. So that can be for Title IX, that could be for EEO, it could be for Section 504, all those different things. So we have a list there of pre-populated training that they can actually choose from, but they can also build their own too. So we have that there. We also do face-to-face and virtual training throughout the campus. Something that I really take pride in is my Dean's Tour. This year would be my third year, you know, this will be my third year doing it this year here. And so that actually starts next month. My Dean's Tour is me taking time with all the different deans one-on-one, getting to know them more, talking about the things that we're doing over here in CTAC and to see what they, need from us. And so then that actually helps basically trickle down because from the Dean's Tour, now that I've done it now for 3 years, now I'm meeting with chairs. Last year I met with all of the chairs of the College of Health Professions for an hour and a half, had a great talk with them. That led to me talking to chairs over in social work, over in social work and so on. What I want to happen is like I want everyone to know me. I want them to know my staff, to know how we can help. I don't want faculty, students, and staff scared to come and talk to us. I want them to feel that they can talk to us if they need. And I would say that's been going great. Something else that we do here is that we have started partnering more with human resources. Sometimes when we get different complaints, especially from faculty and or staff, there can be somewhat of like basically you may have some Title IX or some Title VII matters mixed in with some human resources things. What we don't want to do is send faculty and or staff back and forth to these different areas. So we have a partnership with them where we actually meet with them for that first meeting so we can hear them out and we both can take what we need from those, I would say from that first session and make a determination as to whether there should be both, like let's say, maybe there should be something that we can both do for them, or maybe just my office, or maybe them. What happened is that, let's say, for instance, we start doing like the EEO investigation, and then during the investigation, we find that there are some things that need to be taken care of from the other side of it. We would then take that information, send it over to them, and they can do their own work there. But they already know the individuals because we've already met with them. Okay. Title IX, like I said before, this is my 10th year now. And we are still using the 2020 Title IX regulations. Okay. We've not changed our We've not changed our Title IX policy because we still have things in place from 2020. And so there's no need to change when the 2024 regs came out. Of course, Kansas was actually one of 26 states that did not make those changes. We did not make those changes, okay? So we are still using our 2020 Title IX regs, okay? That pertains to the ADA and Section 504. We recently just hired our new director, and so she is actually doing some great work. And she came from WSU Tech, where she ran the summer camp there. The summer accessibility camp. So this year she is going to be doing it too. And this year, for the first time, WSU will be a co-sponsor with that. This summer camp has basically folks from all over basically talking about how to make sure we are as in compliant as possible when it comes to website accessibility, campus accessibility, things of that nature. So for the first time this year, WSU will be a co-sponsor there. Okay. We work very, very close with our Office of Student Accommodations and Testing. And so we want to make sure that that basically students have everything that they need for the year. One of the things that we've done is we've made sure that we knew how much furniture we have for these student accommodations. And we made sure that we were able to get more. So like if they needed certain tables, certain chairs, lumbar support chairs of that nature, we have all of that in place so that students don't have to wait for those things. Right? In terms of Clery compliance, that is actually something that we lead over here in CTEC. So I have an assistant director who basically does that work day in, day out. She has all of the partnerships with basically UPD, Wichita PD, Sedgwick County Sheriff's Office, and she has all of that information. She keeps up with the crime stats. She meets with our student conduct side, housing, make sure that we have everything that we need there. We have also become members of the Clery Center. So that comes with us being a part of basically a listserv. And we're able to ask different things throughout the year. And when it comes to the annual fire and security report, we get the benefit of having them take a look at the draft one time before we actually have it published by the 1st of October. Okay. We are also members with the Association for Title IX Administrators, which basically, has a similar, I would say has some similar things there, like in terms of listservs, talking about best practices, benchmarks, and things of that nature. Okay. I just want to make sure that I covered everything here, Bridges. I don't want to take too much more of your time, but I can tell you just to kind of basically, give you a summary. We are out there doing the work. We understand that we can't do this work sitting down. We can't do it from basically behind a desk. So we're out there talking to everyone that we can. And we understand that while we need to get the same information to faculty, students, and staff, just how we go about that, because you want to meet them where they are. Right now, I have a staff member who is actually serving on staff senate, just in the interim right now, with the plans on him there for the next year. So that's something else. So we make sure that the whole campus knows us. We make sure that our presence is known, and we basically make sure that we are on top of all the different changes that may be there in terms of Title IX changes, EEO changes, Clery, and all those different things. So we make sure that we stay on top of those. And if there are changes, then we make sure that we partner with our general counsel and make the necessary changes as needed. Okay. That actually is the end of my report. Regents, if you have any questions for me, I'm here to answer those.
All right, great information, Courtney. Please know we appreciate all you do. Any questions for Courtney? All right, hearing none. Thank you again for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
All right, Stacia, did you have anything else? Doesn't look like it. Okay.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other business to come before the governance committee this morning? Hearing none, we will stand adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.